should you call that lying? If you're on the edge, maybe, of doing something awful. Look how crazy society is today. And I'm giving you an opportunity to open up before you act on something foolish. It's area code 575-208-7787. I'm losing my mind line. Craig, you're on the air. How's your mind?
It's hanging in there, Art.
Good.
My first Skype call, how am I sounding?
Just like you're right here.
Excellent. So I've had the strangest experience I've ever had in my life in August, and I thought maybe you could give me some feedback and let me know how to proceed. Have you got a minute for a story?
Sure. But
Sure.
even before you tell it, I can tell you that you don't have long to live.
Well, that's kind of the gist of the story, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I read minds, and that may make me a hybrid, but go ahead.
Okay, so and it is so nice to have you back on the air, and that was a very, very scary show last night.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so let me just give you a little bit of quick background about me, so that this little experience will make sense. I'm in my 50s. My daughter is in her 20s. She has no children. I have no grandchildren. One of my hobbies, I have a little fleet of kind of vintage motorcycles and classic cars, all in various states of disrepair, that I drive around during the summer.
Probably all over the yard, right?
I've got a big warehouse that I
Okay.
put them in, so they're not sitting out getting rusty.
Okay.
But, and I've always told her, look, when I'm gone, you can do anything you want with these cars and motorcycles. The only thing is I've got this 1931 Model A that's been in the family since the 50s. My dad and I restored it. Please keep that. And then I've got this little 1972 Honda XL250 that was my first big motorcycle, and it is just like in showroom condition. So those are the only two that that I'd like to see stay in the family.
Yes.
So during the summer, I like to get up early, and before I go into the office, and I'll stop in at Starbucks with my planner and have a cup of coffee and get ready for the day, usually between 6:30 and 7. So the second week of August, I think it was the Wednesday, the 12th, I am sitting in Starbucks having a cup of coffee. I've ridden my little Honda 250 down in that morning, and a fellow comes in and he says, "Hey, whose little Honda is that outside?" And I said, "Hey, it's mine." And he said, "Hey, I've got one, that's just like that."
Mm.
And so he comes over to the table and he stands there, and we chat for a few minutes. And you know how sometimes you just run into somebody and you just have this rapport with them. And this guy looked like he was maybe in his late 20s, early 30s. And we talked about cars and motorcycles. And in this short conversation we had, he also mentioned, he said, my grandfather left me a Model A and this bike. And I said, "Oh, that's a coincidence, because I've got a Model A as well." And I'm thinking, God, I had to get to know this
Guy is my soul brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody that that gets their hands greasy, and we could work on these vehicles together.
Yes.
So we talked for a few minutes, and I've I was going to go get a refill, and my cup
Yes.
is empty. So I stand up by the side table and I said, "Hey, can I get you a cup of coffee?" Because he hadn't gone to get one. And he said, "No." He said, "I don't have much time." He said, I really need to be going." He said, "But I need to tell you something." He said, "And I know this is going to sound crazy." He said, "But and I can't tell you how I know." And it was really weird. And he started to get all serious, looking right into my eyes, and his tears started to well up in his eyes. And he said, "Do not go to Alaska in October." And I probably go. I'm a geologist. I go work all over the western U.S. and I go to Alaska 5, 6, 7 times a year. And I didn't have a trip planned, but and I kind of laughed. And he said, "I can't tell you how I know this, but I just need to tell you, do not go." And and tears were in his eyes, and he reached out and grabbed around me and gave me a big hug, and he whispered something while he was hugging me, and I was so kind of taken aback. And you know how sometimes when you hear something and it takes a little while I didn't understand what he said, and he let go of me and said, "Remember that." And he turned and strode towards the door, and I saw him go out the door and past the windows, And I sat there for about 10 seconds processing. What did he say? And suddenly it came to me. He said, "Love you, Grandpa." And
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Oh my God.
And so, and it's like I took off out the door and around the corner, and just as I rounded the door around the corner, I kind of saw this flash, and it was, it's like 6:45. It's early in the morning, and and it could have been like the sun glinting off a windshield or something. But when I came around the corner, there was no one there, and there weren't any cars, and it's like 250 feet to the next doorway, and there was nobody there, and. I'm a scientist, and I don't know how to, this flash could have been, like I said, the reflection, and this guy it could have just been a coincidence, and maybe he was messing with me, but
doesn't sound like it to me.
I don't know. So, what do you take from that, Art?
I don't know. Are you going?
Experience.
Did you go to Alaska?
The reason I'm calling is yesterday a proposal came across my desk for a project in Juneau for October.
Oh, I don't think I'd go if I were you. I would take that literally and seriously, and I wouldn't go.
So, and I'm almost tempted to just to see what would happen.
Well, you remember at the beginning of the call what I said, right?
Yes.
Don't go.
Okay, so...
And if you do go, well, I was going to say call me, but, that chance might not come up.
But anyway, very strange experience. So, all I've heard about time travel is you can only go forward, you can't go backwards.
Oh, what do we know about time travel? Come on.
Yeah.
Really. If it comes to pass, I would imagine going in either direction could be certainly possible. And remind me again, what did he whisper to you?
He said, "Love you, Grandpa."
Have a good night, sir, and trust me, don't go to Alaska. That sounds serious. That was a whale of a call, wasn't it?